means that we have two elements. The pronoun comes first, then comes the noun. In anaphoric reference, it's the other way around. It's the other way round. First, we have the noun, then the pronoun. Okay. Let's have the following words, the following sentences. These are the keys. Well, these are the keys. Okay, these are the keys. I lost them yesterday. Can anybody translate this into Arabic?
هذه المفاتيح التي أضعتها البارحة.
Again.
هذه المفاتيح التي أضعتها البارحة.
Okay, right. These are the sheep. They died last week.
هؤلاء الخراف الذين ماتوا امبارحة.
Who is that?
محمد درويش.
محمد. Can you try again, محمد?
هذه هي الخراف التي ماتت البارحة.
هذه هي الخراف. Okay.
التي ماتت البارحة.
Yeah. التي ماتت أو نفقت.
نفقت
collocation wise, I mean, this is how language use, how language and thought are closely interrelated. They're closely interrelated. So with sheep in Arabic, now in English, we may use die with humans plus human minus human. In Arabic, we use a different verb with animals than humans. Yeah. So we said the birds died, نفقت الطيور. The sheep died, نفقت الخراف. And in English they use they. They use they with plus human minus human plus animate living beings and minus animate. Yeah. So we have to come to grips with the way language is used pragmatically. Right. Okay. Let's move to deixis. We said that deixis is using language, is pointing via language. Now we all know the meaning of certain personal pronouns, time pronouns, temporal, or locational, or locational, pronouns. We all know these, the meaning of these terms. But sometimes we need to know when and how these deictic expressions are used in the right context to convey the intended meaning of the speaker. I mean, the speaker, we have conventions. Language, as we said, is a social act. It's a social act. So we need to have, what is the technical term used to refer to shared linguistic knowledge and shared experience? What's the technical term used to refer to membership in the same linguistic community, shared knowledge, and shared experience? That was part of chapter 1.
Regularity دكتور.
Again,
Regularity.
yeah, that's very good, Asa. Yeah, it's regularity. Regularity means that a certain community has conventions. Every community has shared conventions, norms, N-O-R-M-S. They share linguistic knowledge, so they speak the same language, and they share aspects of knowledge and experience. So we call this regularity. Now, in Dioxis, sometimes we use honorific terms. Can you explain this?
دكتور expression that indicate higher states.
And it refers to the status.
Yes.
To the status of the person. In other words, in Arabic, what do we say? We say لكل مقام مقال. واضح هذا معناه؟
يعني هون لكل شيء عالي.
Yes, doctor.
Can you paraphrase it? Can you paraphrase this? What does it mean? Suppose that somebody doesn't understand what that means. لكل مقام مقال.
لكل مقام أسلوب في
إن
الحكي.
لغتك بتعتمد على اللي قدامك مقاما يعني.
Again, sorry, is that Farah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, can try again, please.
دكتور يعني لغتك بتعتمد على اللي أمامك مثلا يعني مثلا قدام مثلك مثلا قدام الدكتور نحكي بطريقة فورمال.
Okay.
بعكس ما بنحكي مثلا مع أصحابنا مع أهلنا زي هيك.
Yeah, okay, very good. I mean, this is revealed through the use of didactic expressions. It's revealed, I mean, the proper use of language, the pragmatic use, you can tell from the pragmatic use of language whether you are addressing a person with a higher rank, an older person, a leader, okay? Or it reflects the degree of formality, the degree of distance, the extent of this distance. So if there is a distance, then we have to use a formal style. If we have less distance, then we may use a less formal style. Now, this is reflected in using didactic expressions. Now, when do we use we? Sometimes we use we instead of I.
Like
we use we instead of I. We use antum instead of anta or anti. Let's have some examples.
When we talk about majesty, His Majesty.
Okay, very good. I mean, we call it majestic. We call this majestic plural. I think it's called in Arabic جمع التعظيم. I think جمع التعظيم. طبعا it refers to the person, to the singular form, but we use we and they. Yeah. So we the President of the United States. We the King of Jordan. we, the Royal Highness, our Royal Highness, for instance. Our. We. Now, we here is a plural, has a plural form, but it indicates or expresses singular. See what I mean? So we call this honorific. Now, instead of saying فضيلتك, yeah, sometimes it's more polite to say فضيلتكم, معاليكم,
مكان غالية.
your excellency, your excellency, your excellency, معاليكم.
دكتور هدول person
In
dikes.
Arabic, of course, pardon me.
Person
That's
dikes.
part of Daxis, yeah. Person Daxis, yes. Person Daxis. Yeah, sure. Okay. Now, what do you mean by spatial Daxis or didactic expressions? Just try to explain the meaning of spatial and how they are used. How they are used pragmatically.
Like here or there.
Refer to place.
Refer to place. Like here it's to the near place and there to the more distance, to far places.
Okay. Here.
And we said.
How about this and that?
To things, not to places.
Yeah, this and that.
To objects.
How are this and that used to show like or dislike of someone or something?
We use this to show that we like something, and that
we use this, okay.
Yes, and that to unlike when we unlike something. Yes.
Okay. For instance, we say I don't like that dish if it's near, even though it's near. Yeah, we say I don't like that dish. That's if I don't fancy it, if I don't like it. So we use that instead of this. When we talk about somebody we dislike, although he might be near, present, but we say we use that instead of this. This is how didactic expressions are used. Right. Right. Okay. Today we are going to have chapter 4, which is presupposition. Chapter 4 is entitled presupposition, which deals with some aspects of the invisible meaning. Because remember, we said that sometimes we can get the intended meaning of the speaker, and sometimes communication fails. Sometimes communication fails. So if we don't share the same culture, the same linguistic knowledge, the same pragmatics, then our communication may prove to be a complete failure. So for instance, this again reflects how language and thought language and culture are inseparable. They are part and parcel. Now, when we say, suppose that somebody said, Mary has 2 children. What does that presuppose? presupposition يعني افتراض مسبق.
That Mary is
So
married.
so the speaker assumes that the listener is familiar with certain cultural background which the listener has. So he assumes that the listener is aware of what he is going to say, what he's going to utter prior to his utterance, before he says it, before he utters whatever he intends to say. So when we say Mary has, say, 2 children, what does that presuppose?
Mary is married.
Mary is married. That's very good.
يعني عنده دكتور معلومات مسبقة معروفة.
افتراض مسبق.
Yes.
يعني افتراض presupposition is افتراض مسبق. يعني he assumes that the listener is aware of certain background of what he's going to say, because members of the same community share knowledge and experience. Right. So when somebody says, now in our culture, this